Hello, good morning. Our first issue is INS Vikrant. INS Vikrant is India's first indigenously built aircraft carrier. Aircraft carrier is a kind of big ship which carries aircrafts. It is the platform of Indian Navy, and this indigenous aircraft carrier is built by Cochin Shipyard Limited. It can carry about 30 assorted aircrafts including fighter jets, helicopters. Among helicopters, some can be utility helicopters, some can be attack helicopters. INS Vikrant is India's first indigenously built aircraft carrier. Earlier, our first aircraft carrier which we purchased from UK was also named as INS Vikrant. After that, INS Virat. Now we have INS Vikramaditya, which is in service. INS Vikrant, now the new one, indigenously built one, is named after our first aircraft carrier, that is INS Vikrant, which we purchased from UK. That means as of now we have only one functional aircraft carrier, that is INS Vikramaditya. This one, INS Vikrant, is going to be in service by next year. It is going for trials now. Next issue is Air Quality Commission Bill. This particular bill is for appointing Commission for Air Quality Management for National Capital Region, that is NCR Delhi, and the adjoining regions. This body, it has one full-time chairperson and many members. They consist of representatives from central ministries, independent experts. They will have final say in deciding what are the measures to be taken to address the air quality concerns of Delhi and adjoining regions. In India, we have Central Pollution Control Board. This is the nodal agency to deal with air pollution, water pollution, and land pollution under Environmental Protection Act 1986. But this particular body, Commission for Air Quality Management for NCR, this is going to have final say only with regard to air pollution in this particular region. This was introduced earlier in the form of ordinance, but ordinance has maximum lifetime of 6 months and 6 weeks. That's why they have introduced the bill again. Next issue is lapse of MPLADS fund. MPLADS funds are granted for each MP, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha MP, at 5 crore rupees annually. And overall for 790 MPs, 3,950 crore rupees are given every year. But last year, because of this COVID and all, as the scheme was also not performing on par, the government said these funds will be diverted for COVID related issues. So from last year onwards, for next 2 years, they have suspended this program. But there are programs which were under construction. So that's why certain funds were allocated. But these funds were released at the last date. That means at the year end, a week before the year end, these funds were allocated. And we have this ministry known as Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Through this particular ministry, funds are sent to the districts. Funds are not given to the MP. Funds are sent to the districts where the MP has recommended the works. As these are released late, most of the funds have lapsed. That's why this has become an issue now. Next issue is Samgra Siksha scheme. Samgra Siksha means complete comprehensive school education scheme. Cabinet has approved for extension of Samgra Siksha scheme till March 2026, that is next 5 years. This is an integrated scheme for government and aided schools, over 15 crore students and 50 lakh teachers. It includes teacher training, under RT, all the things that include school education, all are combined under this particular umbrella scheme. Under the recent proposals, DBT, direct benefit transfer, has been proposed by the cabinet. That means for textbooks, uniforms, etc., government spends money. Instead of buying these, government is planning to share the money or transfer the money to the accounts of the student or the parent of this particular, under this particular scheme. And stipend for children with special needs will also be paid through DBT. Why DBT? DBT is seen as one of the most efficient forms of sharing the welfare benefits. That is why. Next issue is cyber threats. Recently, CERTIN, Computer Emergency Response Team, said that in the past 6 months, 6 lakh cases, 6 lakh cyber security incidents were reported in the first 6 months itself. That means huge number of increase in the cyber cases, especially as the digital transfers, online mode of payments, as these are increasing, digital crimes and cyber crimes are also increasing. In this context, people should be made aware of these threats and institutional mechanisms needs to be strengthened. This is how we can prevent such incidents. Next issue is Assam Mizoram border dispute. Assam Mizoram. Assam earlier is a big province. In this province, present Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Mizoram, these were all part. After independence, over a period of time, these were made as independent states. Independent states. So when these were divided from this united state of Assam, border disputes arose. In this border disputes with Mizoram, Nagaland, with all these four states, Assam has border issue. Recent issue is Mizoram. So in this context, impartial inquiry into border firing, recently border firing led to deaths between the two states. So that requires impartial inquiry, and the overall dispute settlement requires people-oriented approach rather than judicial approach. In judicial approach, what happens? One state gains, other states loses. There is no compromise. But in this context, it is related to people's sensitivities. That's why people-centric approach needs to be followed. Next issue is Ethiopia, Tigray issue. Tigray is a northern part of Ethiopia which borders Eritrea. Recently, 2 years back, Ethiopia and Eritrea, they have resolved their border disputes. As a result, Ethiopian Prime Minister was also awarded with Nobel Peace Prize. Now, Tigray, which is a northern part of, which is located in northern part of Ethiopia, it was asking for independent status. It wants to be independent country. That's how the conflict was going on there. Now, last year, conflict became huge. Ethiopia has blockaded that particular place. In this context, this economic blockade impacts everyone. It's not just the rebels. It impacts everyone. So it needs peaceful resolution. So government and the rebels needs to engage in the talks. That is the way forward. Next issue is professional courses in regional languages. Recently, ICTC has announced that it is going to permit BTech programs in 11 native colleges under National Education Policy 2020. In this context, here we have to remember C.V. Raman's quotation. C.V. Raman has said that teaching science in our mother tongue that encourages the innovation. There are many countries across the world which has proven it. South Korea, Japan, China, France, Germany, many countries they teach in mother languages at higher education level. In this context, we should not consider it as fight between a regional language that is mother tongue versus English. We can learn both. Solutions for this can be use of technology, let's say Swayam portal. Use of technology to reach the education to remote regions. Remove the sense of inferiority among the regional language students. Encourage the students to have proficiency in multiple languages. These can address this issue. South Korea's 70% of the courses are taught in local language, regional language. So these are all world examples which shows us that diversity, linguistic diversity is not a weakness, it's a strength. Next issue is Goods and Services Tax 2.0. In the present architecture of GST, there are certain issues like it favors center in case of any disputes. Let's say now GST compensation is not paid on time. So what is the grievance redressal system that the states have? There is nothing. And the tax structure is in such a way that it exempts 40 to 50% of commodity value outside GST. So the base of GST did not increase. We thought tax base would increase if we implement GST, but that didn't happen. Then exemptions from registration and taxation under GST, that also led to pilferages, that also led to loopholes in the implementation, and exclusion of certain items like petroleum and tobacco. So that constitutes bulk of taxation. Then compliance with GST return filing, GSTR1 filing, that led to GST information which is not updated. These are all the concerns. These concerns needs to be addressed. Tax rates, the tax incomes under GST regime have not improvised substantially. So that's why we need comprehensive reform in GST. We need GST 2.0. Next issue is Katalin Kariko's contribution. Her contribution into vaccines. mRNA vaccines, we know Pfizer, Moderna, these companies, they have come up with mRNA vaccines which are more efficient. mRNA, messenger ribonucleic RNA, is a molecule that is naturally manufactured inside our cells to send the signals or to carry the signal for proteins. That means DNA makes a copy of RNA, mRNA. This mRNA goes to ribosomes. In ribosomes, this mRNA is translated into protein. So that means it carries the cell's genetic information for a temporary period. So using this, she has said that vaccines can be produced using mRNA molecules. Initially, no one has shown the interest. She has faced many difficulties in proving her point. Lab facilities were also not there, but now her contribution is recognized. Her technology, her way of preparing mRNA vaccines have been adopted by major companies. So her contribution is commendable. There are other women. Sarah Gilbert. She played an important role in developing University of Oxford's vaccine. In Bharat Biotech, K. Sumati, she has led the team. She has led the team in Bharat Biotech. Likewise, many women have led the teams with regard to vaccination. So this COVID vaccination, we can say that women scientists are no less than men. In fact, women have led these teams. They played substantial role in manufacture or discovery of various vaccines. Next issue is Essential Defence Services Bill 2021. Recently, this bill was introduced in Lok Sabha. Many criticize that it is preventing the fundamental right of strike. But in many of the Supreme Court judgments, like T.K. Rangarajan versus Government of Tamil Nadu, it is said that Supreme Court has said that right to strike is not a fundamental right under Article 1991A. So this particular bill, it has been introduced to provide for maintenance of essential defense services, and it prevents the staff of Ordnance Factory Board from going on strike. In this context, it is legally valid. Under Article 33 of the Constitution, Parliament can restrict the application of fundamental rights in case these rights are related to armed forces and those who are involved in maintenance of public order. So Defence Services Bill is completely in line with the constitutional provisions. These are today's articles. Thank you very much. All the very best.